we go. Welcome to Hello Chaos, the unfiltered podcast for founders in the messy middle. There are no fairy tales here, just the real grind, the grits, and the chaos of what it takes to start and build a business. Today we have on our show Carl Stecker. He is the CEO and founder of FreeRx.com in my hometown. He's from Greenville, South Carolina. So excited to have you on. Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jennifer. Glad to be here.
Yeah. And I'm jealous, as we talked in our green room, of you're on the beach right now. So lovely.
I am.
As we were getting ready for an ice storm here in old Greenville.
I didn't plan that, but it worked out.
It worked out. Everything kind of works out for a reason, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, just start us out. Tell us what inspired FreeRx. And also, I want to know, is this like your first rodeo in starting a company, building a company? So start us out. What inspired? I didn't think so. So it'll be good. What inspired FreeRx? And then talk about a little bit of, the journey of, what you've been doing.
Sure. I'll start with FreeRx. Yeah, it's a bit of a personal story. I was going in for my second open heart surgery in 2022. And I've now had 3 open hearts and then was in a coma on life support for 11 days after the third one. But anyhow, that's for another time. But I was going in for my second open heart. I knew I was going, it was a valve replacement. I think I had an extended warranty, so mine lasted 12 years instead of 10, right? And so they give you a whole slew of medications to take and keep inflammation down, all that. And so I went to the pharmacy, Jennifer, my little Greenville discount pharmacy on Augusta Road. It's my favorite place. Is about 20 by.
I love it.
Is that where you go?
I do.
Yeah, it's like 20 by 20, And so I go to pick up my medications and I got hit with a $407 deductible.
Whoa.
And I paid it. I came off the hip, right? It's not like it was an elective surgery.
Right.
But I turned around. I no more than hit the door. And as you know, the door is only about 10 feet from the counter. And it's just hit me. It was like God stuck a tick on my back and I couldn't get it off. It's like, okay, this could be somebody's car payment. This could be their rent. This could be their grocery budget for their family. Like all of this stuff started going through my head and I'm like, holy cow, this system is broke.
Yep.
And so that kind of walked out and I was frustrated, but typically you'll get frustrated about something and you just drop it, Right. And when I say it put a tick on my back, I couldn't let go. I couldn't let go of it. And so I started to study the industry. Our team started to look at it. We went out and hired 3 pharmacists. Our head pharmacist has over 45 years experience. And my charge was, okay, I'd like a formulary. I didn't know what it was going to cost, right? No clue. I want a formulary of 90% of the medications, 90% of the prescriptions fill. I want a formulary of those prescriptions, excluding brand and excluding specialty. Because that's when your price goes up really high. Right. So I'm like, okay, I've got to make this manageable, affordable. We had the whole team on it. We learned some interesting things like, a CVS, a Walgreens, they have between a 1,500 and 3,000% markup on these medications. And it's because all their brick and mortar and their pharmacists and, you think about it, there's store on every corner.
Yeah. They've got there's a CVS, the Walgreens are right across the street.
Right across the street.
Yep.
And they've each got probably 5-6 pharmacists per location. So when you start adding up over all the overhead, you get it, right? And so when we started the company, I thought, this will be a great product offering for people in rural markets. And then what happened as we started to grow, and put together the business, get the pharmacies in order, we get the formulary in order. The pharmacist came back with 415 prescriptions or medications. I said, that's not good enough. We've got over 1,000 now.
Yeah.
18 or 130 of those medications are acute. So that's the stuff you need right away. That's your albuterol inhalers, your Z-Pak, your amoxicillin, your penicillin, all of those things that are acute. Your child's sick, they need
Yep.
something right away. You're sick, you need something. So those 130 medications are acute. So I can't send those to you from our fulfillment pharmacy. So for those 130, we built in a pharmacy network of 70,000 plus pharmacies.
Hmm.
So all your Walgreens, CVS, uh,
All the
Target,
independents like the Pickwicks and the
all the independents, your Greenville Discount Pharmacy, for that's to be example, Kohl's, Publix,
hmm,
Albertsons, you name it. Over
right.
70,000 places to get your medications filled for your acute medications. Show them your free RX card. They're free with your membership.
Hmm.
So, and then all your acute medications we send directly to your door. And typically we fill in a 90-day fill, which is good because now you're going to the pharmacy 12 times a year. And that's, I don't know about you, but it's a little bit of an inconvenience.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, I gotta go get my meds, or I gotta this way, boop, they just pop into
It
your
just yeah.
show up at your door. Then someone on the team said, "Hey, what if they don't have a doctor?"
Hmm.
I thought, well, that's a great idea. And so we built in virtual urgent care 24/7, 365. You can call up on the weekend. You can get yourself diagnosed, your
Hmm.
child diagnosed. Doctor can call in what you need on a Saturday or a Sunday. You go to your pharmacy, show your free RX card, pick up your medications, no charge, no deductible, no insurance, no anything.
So is it this is fascinating. I mean, I love the model cuz my kid had allergies and the EpiPens were I just felt like they took advantage. $800 for a pen. You have to do two because you have to keep one at school and at home, and sometimes three because I kept one on my person just in case. But yeah, it all of a sudden you're dropping a few $1,000s on just risk management.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is. And we've done a couple of really neat things. We built in the pharmacy network, we built in the virtual urgent care into the pricing, and the pricing is 49.95 per month
Hmm.
for an individual and 64.95 for your entire family. So that's a
So is it?
family
So it's a
up to five
membership, almost
children.
like a concierge type of a um, medical concierge kind of model. Is that
Similar,
okay?
similar, yes, and it's, and you can also, if you go to freerx.com, you can also purchase, I think it's 19.95 a month, primary, virtual care.
Hmm.
So you can get a primary doctor. Like a lot of people, and we have another company called Benefits in a Card,
Okay.
and we insure the staffing industry. So all of your temporary staffing employees, there we provide insurance for those companies. So that was
Hmm.
another big trigger for me, was that in the past 25 years, I haven't seen a good prescription offering come across my desk that was a full boat. Usually they'll have 20 to 30, maybe 50 medications. That's like
Yeah.
a pretty big a broad formulary. We've got a
Right.
thousand. So, and we've got a search engine on our site where, you can go, you can see if the stuff you're taking is on there. The one thing that we did last year, excuse me, is we opened up the floodgate, if you will. So we used to just carry just the meds in the formulary. Now we carry everything. So if you need brand, we can get it for you. We also partnered with UbaCare, which is a Canadian pharmacy.
Hmm.
So and we direct you straight to them. We don't take any margin,
Right.
markup, anything. You buy directly from UbaCare. But it's a Canadian pharmacy. And the cool thing about that is like all your GLP-1s, they're like
Hmm.
$1,500
Yeah.
a month. They're like 320, 350 with
Wow.
UbaCare. And then like my mom's on Eliquis, and that's $635 or $600 a month here when I can go buy it from a Canadian pharmacy for $320 for a 3-month supply.
Yeah.
So things like that.
So
So
you're
we're
just giving
constantly
access to people that didn't didn't have the I guess the opportunity or the information or yeah. I mean, it's just
well, and one I will say one thing that big pharma gets kind of a bad rap.
yeah.
Um Yeah, and it's just because it's what you hear on the street, and you're, "Oh, big pharma, blah, blah, blah." Big pharma's not the problem, it's all of the when we went into this, it was so fun, Jennifer, because we were so naive and so call it dumb, right? Just, like, dumb, like, looking at it, like, completely curious and
Right.
like a little kid, like, there was no barriers, no nothing, but what we saw was all of this stuff that was, like, clunked on, right? Attached and taking a little money here, a little money there, and I'm like, "Okay, we don't need any of y'all," right?
Right. You're
We
like
buy from the
deconstructing the model. Like,
we did, we just tore
yeah.
it down. We buy directly from the manufacturers, the big pharma. We buy directly from them, it comes into our pharmacy, and it goes directly to you.
Hmm.
So, typically, your medications change hands 7 to 11 times before they reach the consumer.
Wow.
With us, it's twice. So, we just
Just strip
call it
out the supply chain.
wiped out
Right.
wiped out the boogers, right? So,
Right.
just get that stuff out of here, and so that's how we were able to crunch this down, and it saved people. We put over 130,000 people through this plan in the last 2 years within the benefits and a card client base.
That I
So,
was gonna ask you, like, so you were you in this industry already, kind of like in a your previous life?
no,
So
no.
yeah, how did you get the access and the ability to kind of ramp up as fast as you did?
So it's just putting your foot to the metal, and
Wow.
it just became, Jennifer, a passion.
Mm.
I mean, I was so driven to fix this problem. Our team was so driven because we see it. We process literally hundreds of thousands of people per week are from their payroll coming through our
Mm.
system in the benefits and a card book. And then going through that and having that experience on my own. And my wife Cindy has a great saying. Says, if it's not in your face or up your kazoo, you're not going to notice it, right?
Right.
And I always laugh at that when she says it, but it's true. Because look at that. All of a sudden, I had to come off the hip $407, and boy, that hit home. And
Yeah.
so we started a company about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. The
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing I was going to mention is the other thing that we built in that we feel is very important. A couple of things is one, we built in the best insulin diabetes program, bar none. We negotiated a great contract with Walmart. We actually subsidized the insulin a tad, and so it's the lowest cost insulin. The only thing about that is because shipping refrigerated is expensive. We couldn't keep our price points. So insulin, you do have to go to Walmart and pick it up.
Hmm.
You show your free RX card and you get your discount.
But it's still
Um,
accessible. It's not like it's a, you know,
Y Well, think about it. I mean, insulin could cost people 150, $200 a month. You can go to Walmart, take your free RX card, it's 23.99
hmm,
for your insulin.
yeah.
I mean, we're saving people a bloody fortune, and it's
Yeah.
really cool. The other thing that I really enjoy about this is for an additional, I think it's 5.99 a month, you can have, behavioral health as well, virtual
Hmm.
behavioral health. And so that's like talk therapy.
Right.
And yeah, which is really helped a lot of people and helped them work through a lot of issues. So it's just a great program. I told a friend of mine, I said, he's like, God, Carl, you're running really hard at this and you're spending a lot of money. And what's your goal? Like, what's your ROI? I said,
Right.
my ROI is if I can change the pharmacy model and make it affordable.
Hmm.
If we don't make a dime, I'm fine,
Right. Change the
right?
behavior. Right.
Yeah, it just
You're like
and it's
entrepreneur. I'm an activist.
well, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. And what happened is I started and this was something when I mentioned the rural markets.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this will be great for people that don't have a pharmacy, you know, right down the street.
Right.
Well,
Or a
what
doctor.
happened? Yeah, or a doctor, yeah,
Yeah.
right, they're out in the this way they can call up, they get somebody on their phone and, to talk to them. And but what happened in 22 or started to happen in 22 that has now become unbelievably prevalent
Hmm.
is, our administration started allowing people to go into a drugstore and steal $2,000 worth of goods and not get in any trouble, right? So you had that going on,
Yeah.
for 21, 22, 23, and all of a sudden, 23, what happened? Rite Aid, 10 toes up. They're off
Mm,
the market. They're gone. CVS closed half their stores. Walgreens closed half their stores.
mm,
These other pharmacies, I mean, they're closing pharmacies left and right, and they're doing it in, like, take these sanctuary cities. They're pharmacy deserts.
mhm.
They've
Well, they're
closed
d they're
all the
physician
stores.
deserts. I mean, there's just
Yeah,
they're
so you look
healthcare
at,
deserts.
yeah, you exactly. They're all over deserts, but I mean, you
Yeah.
look at Atlanta, Detroit, um, Boston. I mean, I'm like, and so this is where it becomes really critical.
Mm,
And but because what happens is, people are fighting. They're taking half of their medications that they need because they got to get food,
right.
and that really set in with me. I grew up in a very poor home. I was told one time that I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. My mom married a guy that had 5 kids, excuse me. There were 8 of us in a 3-bedroom home and with 1 bath in Detroit, Michigan. And um, I moved out of my house when I was 15 years old and started my first company at 16 called Home Tune Up. And I've been starting businesses ever
That's
since.
what I was gonna ask you. I'm like, so we know
Yeah.
this is not your first rodeo. What has been the evolution of your journey? So the first company was what did you call it? Home tune up?
Home Tune Up. Yes.
So was that like handyman on demand?
Yeah. It was
Or
actually, we started out painting houses.
okay.
It was a low barrier, low cost to entry. Growing up, your parents always made you paint stuff, so we knew how to paint, and so took our knowledge and named the company Home Tune Up, and then we got into the blacktop resurfacing. We
Mm,
made a lot of money in that, and then we bought a concrete truck and started pouring patios and things like that. Got into renovation work, and then we sold that business. Then I moved to Fort Lauderdale and published a magazine called The Spring Breaker, and we sold the rights to that. Ocean Pacific and Budweiser, then moved up to Chicago and was a trader on the mercantile exchange
wow.
and made a market in the Johnson Johnson pit and the OEX pit on the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. And then I went broke one of the times. It was probably the third
Sometimes
time.
probably the best lessons you've learned, like how to get out
Yeah,
of
I've
that.
been
Yeah.
I've been broke 7 times. It's just and you
Yeah.
don't ever get used to it, but I think it's part of you know,
Learning.
yeah, I think it's part of God just chiseling away at us and making us better and stronger. I really do. And, if you hadn't had your chops busted,
Yeah, that's right.
you
You
really
haven't
hadn't
hit the
learned
bottom.
anything. Yeah, you haven't.
You haven't learned it.
And, so then moved on I came back to Greenville, actually from Chicago.
Hmm.
My buddy that I traded with there, his family was from Greenville. He
Oh,
said,
I was
"Hey,
gonna
we ought
say,
to
like,
open an
what brought you
office."
to Greenville?
Yeah, he said, we ought to open an office in Greenville. And I'm like, in my 20s at the time. And I said, Where's Greenville? He said, it's in South Carolina. I said, where's South Carolina? I mean, it was that bad, right?
Yeah.
I'm a Detroit kid. I had no clue. I knew I'd driven through it on the way to Florida,
Going to
but that
spring
was,
break.
yeah, exactly. And so then kind of took my first job actually in Greenville working for Lanier, which was 3M when I started. Then they
Mm,
sold to Lanier. I was in their copier and fax division
wow.
and did that for 2 years, was number 1 in the country 2 years running. And then they wanted to promote me to management and
Mhm.
pay me less money. And so that's when I
Really?
started Net Profit, which
Okay.
was, yeah, Net Profit was a turnaround company, so we would go into businesses and grow them and help them grow and then take a percentage of the business, and then Net Profit, we did a turnaround for a company that was in the tax credit business, the welfare to work and work opportunity tax credit, job creation, training credits, you name it, and we ended up buying them, and then we turned in Net Profit, instead of being a turnaround company, kind of morphed into this tax credit
Mm,
practice, and is now actually the old Net Profit is the tax credit and incentives division of Equifax. So, yeah,
wow.
we sold to Talks in 2004, and then we sold to Equifax in May of 2007 for 1.4 billion.
Whoa.
In
How was that process?
2000,
Was that an easy thing to do? I mean, I'm sure it was, because they always say when you sell a big exit like that, it's like, especially if you
It
built it from,
was
it's like handing a baby over. But
and it really was, and I'm so blessed that we actually got the net profit name back. We
oh,
sold it and they abandoned it, and so we got the brand back, and we're
yeah,
cranking up another net profit, if you will. But it was I would say, Jennifer, that's a very true statement you just made. It is emotional for an
hmm,
entrepreneur to sell a business, but it's something that I had done 3 times prior.
yeah,
It wasn't so much that, but I honestly think, we started Benefits in a Card back in 99, 2000, started developing it and then really launched it 2000, 2001. And it was at the request of some of our net profit clients. But I think the journey for me and, going from net profit to, that was helping corporations. That
mm,
was, helping them, helping their bottom line. It was, very financial driven. But my journey personally became more about people
yeah,
and became more about wanting to help people. And that's where I feel like God really called me to
mm,
to just, help. And the sign on my door says help as many people as fast as you can.
yeah,
And
it's cool.
and that's just so starting the benefits in a card and then free RX. I mean, the in the temporary staffing space, the only products back in 2000 that they could avail themselves of were, you know, they had to wait 90 days to get benefits, and then if they could afford them, 'em, they'd get them. Um, or you could sign up for, some kind of supplemental product, Aflac product, where if you get hit by a buffalo at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, you might get $50. And so the staffing industry needed products that were boom, they get a deductible, their coverage is effective the following Monday. They're off and running, no
Right.
deductibles, no copays. They needed real stuff,
Yeah.
and so that's what we're bringing to the market, and then Free RX was just kind of the evolution of that, and what I'm really excited about is, I wanted to watch it work for a couple of years in the benefits and a card client base, which some
Yeah.
people would say, "Carl, you're a little bit crazy because you took a new company, new product, new offering, and introduced it to your client base."
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't have done that had I not know it already worked.
Right, right. Well, also, it's like you're testing within your own environment to go, is it a new brand or is it really just another product offering where you're integrating in to an existing system?
Yes,
I
well,
think
and
that's a
that's
great test environment. Yeah.
it was a fabulous test environment because we've got probably over 1,000,000 people payroll wise that are coming through our
Wow.
shop, right? So we're working with a lot of folks. And when that thing happened to me in the drugstore, I was like, I can help
You're
this.
like, you're not alone. And
Yeah.
this is a problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's why we're here. And we're really excited to be launching this to the general public. It hasn't been available to the public until now. And I think it's going to save people a lot of money. It's
Oh,
to get
yeah.
them the care they need and the help they need.
I mean, you already had kind of a system in place with the benefits in a card, and maybe you can answer it globally from all the businesses that you've built. But was there when you build a business, especially when you're trying to get things to scale, systems is the key. What's an operational bottleneck that you had that you thought, "Oh my gosh, we're never going to get this solved." And how did you work through that? Like how did you create a system in your process, your companies so that things were repeatable, scalable? Is there a
Yeah,
secret?
no. So that's a great question. And a lot of companies, I'm seeing this more and more, I think I'd say in the last decade, I've seen it almost as a trend in business. We're very old fashioned, if you will. We started the development of our technology platform 33 years ago. And so my tech stack for a company our size, our tech stack, meaning our staff,
Yeah.
I've got almost as many people in our IT department as I do in my bilingual call center.
Wow.
And So we're very technical. I mean, we're a technical powerhouse for some little guys, if you will.
Right.
That's where we put our energy. And so the systems that are behind all this that make it happen, we write ourselves. We write our own code. We develop it's actually called the Benefits Wizard is the formal name of our platform. And we develop that internally. We manage our bilingual call center in-house. Our account management team is in-house. Everything we do is in-house because and what I mentioned that I've seen companies start to do is they go out, somebody gets a great idea, and then they want to plug in this provider and plug in that
Mm,
provider. And then we can do this, and they've got this whole suite of offerings, but they don't control any of it.
right.
And so what I found in our businesses is that when we tried to do that, we were losing control of the customer experience.
Yeah.
And that is so critical to me. And I'm such a nut about that. Like if I call, I want to get a person, like we answer our phone,
Hmm.
we have a less than 2-minute abandonment rate quota for our call center.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
I mean, we're old fashioned,
Well,
and
I think
because
what you said is key is you put the customer experience in the center and then
Mhm.
work backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything we do revolves around you, right? You need help and okay, how do we fix that?
Hmm.
And that's that's kind of how we look at things. Like if I could just solve her problem, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So as you started building your teams and your company, I'm going to go back in your history. One of the things that founders and business owners, especially ones that are really trying to grow, and they start adding, the 5 people and then 10 people and then 50 people. One of the hardest things that we hear over and over and over is, and they struggle because they turn over people because they have a problem with letting go and delegating. What's been your uh, process or your mindset in terms of delegating, letting go, building a team?
So I'm not good at it. Okay. I'm not
You're like
really
all
good.
like we're it is
I'm
it
I'm
is a
not really good at it. I'm gonna
it's a
have to be
theme among founders and entrepreneurs. We're not all
however,
good at it.
I am so blessed truly with an unbelievable team. And I mean, you learn as you start to get older, you hire people that are a lot better and a lot smarter than you are. And quite frankly, when you do, leave them alone, right? I don't have to micromanage my team.
Yeah.
My team is motivated, they're on point, and they're after it. And they're motivated by the same reasons. We're all here to help people.
Mm.
And look, there's a lot of companies out there that are what's the word I want to use? It's not coming to me, but they're
Are they like-minded? Like, what's been your secret to hiring the right people that to surround yourself? Because it's a struggle that I've had of like we've changed our hiring process.
I think the biggest secret behind it is having like-minded people. And we are a faith-based organization
Okay.
and a purpose-based organization. And so our people are committed
Mm.
and and that's a big part of our success
Yeah.
is is that commonality, that bond that, we pray together. We we pray on our own. We pray for each other. It's not a like a, you come into our shop and it's not a Bible thumping session, but
Right.
it's
But it's a purpose built.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
it's purpose built. It's to help people. It's treating people the way you want to be treated. It's
Mm.
all of those things that fall into that sphere. And that truly is, having that relationship with your team and for
Mm.
me to have that relationship and for me to know that truly in their hearts, they're doing the right thing for the right reasons. You don't have to watch over stuff.
Yeah.
When people have the right mindset and they're tuned in and they're dialed when, before we make a decision, send it up,
Mm.
and that's it might sound a little strange for a CEO to say that, but I'll tell you what, I'm doing it every morning.
Yeah.
I don't st I start my day, it's like I surrender and I ask where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do.
Mm.
And I don't think there's really any other way to go through life.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be disciplined and focused. Is that one of your occult routines that you do in the morning of let's reflect, let's take a moment, um,
Yeah.
pray, script like do
Yeah.
you do
I
and
take,
you said you do that as a team, but also just individual of just kind of like getting your day set?
yes. And I have a ritual that my wife and I have. In the morning, we'll get up, have a cup of coffee, and work out. And then we do the sauna, the cold plunge. And when we're
Oof,
doing the sauna, we typically listen to two sermons and we pray together. And that's our bonding time.
right.
And then boom, I'm off to work.
You're off and running.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest when you reflect on your journey? What's been the biggest challenge that you have faced that you had to overcome? And what did you do? Like how did you work through that? What was the caught?
God, I've had so many
I
challenges.
know.
I would say the real big one was uh, as you know, if you're not growing a business, if you're not marketing, if you're not, if you're not doing the things you need to do to keep up, um, things will start to
Mm,
businesses do two things. They either grow or die.
right.
Okay. So in that time frame between 22 and 23, where I had 2 open hearts, then I was in the coma. In between those 2 open hearts, my left leg snapped in half. So I had to
What?
have, yeah, my tib and fib just snapped. I was being readmitted for heart failure after about a week and a half after my second open heart, and, I was walking down the hallway of the hospital. I started calling it a hotel because I was there for so long, but my left leg just snapped in half, my tib and fib, and I had to
Oof.
have 2 operations on that, and then found out that the reason it snapped in half was because there was a stitch that had come loose between the mechanical valve and the heart wall. So my heart was just regurgitating. It wasn't pumping blood to my extremities. And that's why I had to go in for the third one. And they took the mechanical valve out, put in a flesh valve. Then they also replaced my aortic valve, and that's when I went into the 11-day coma. And by the grace of God, he brought me through it. I mean, not a lot of people. I had a doctor tell me I was in infectious disease. My That leg actually got infected after my third one, and I had to go back in for a third surgery last July. They pulled all that hardware out, 22 screws, 2 plates through the bone, and my leg is now perfectly fine, no hardware. I'm walking on it every day. I can't
Wow.
run, but I might get there. I mean,
But you didn't lose
it's
it. You still got it.
no, and I'll be quite honest. And so the business over that period of time kind of started going like
Mm,
this. And I was praying and I was, asking for guidance, and I think that's when I really turned my businesses, my everything. I mean, I have this belief that I've grown to accept, and that is that when you, especially for men, and I'll just say it, I think it's hard, especially if you've had some success. I think men, you have a tendency to go, I did that,
right.
I did that. Well, no, you didn't. And so when you surrender to Jesus Christ and you
Mhm.
give him your life, you you've got to realize he owns everything. He owns your home, he owns your cars, he owns your
Right.
bank, he owns it all. We're servants. We are here to serve
That's right.
and be good stewards. And as soon as a man, when you completely surrender your life to Jesus Christ and you start to grow a relationship with him and talk to him like all day, every day, and you're asking for advice and you're asking for guidance. Our business doubled last year. I mean, so if and we're probably going to 10x it this year.
Wow.
I mean, the growth path that he has put our companies on is incredible. And
Yeah.
that's not me. That's me asking for guidance.
Right.
I never went to college. I was a street kid from Detroit. I mean, I mean, college wasn't an option.
Well, you had the smarts enough to go, people look at a problem and solve that problem.
Yeah.
That's been your whole theme of your journey, and you're doing it now. And I also think when, like you said, when servant leadership, it's about humility, it's about steadiness, and it's about, it's about the team and those around you, not about yourself. And that's where you can tell. And I'm sure that's where your team was like, okay, we've got a bigger purpose. It's not about, he's not taking the credit, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure that was emoting from you.
yeah, and no, actually, I laugh because a lot of times I'll tell people, they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I run the help desk." Really, that's
Yeah.
what it is. But you see the alignment, our IT director, our account management director, our call center director. I mean, our whole crew. It's like we just operate together,
Yeah.
and everybody's looking to the same guide. There's
Yeah.
not a, there's no distractions in our track,
That's right.
and that what that can do to a business is unbelievable.
That's right. Because
Yeah.
leadership, I always say it's like it's not about titles or hierarchy. When everyone leads from their seat and serves those around them with that higher purpose in mind, whether it's the business higher purpose or we're helping. I just think that it elevates and it changes a whole mindset.
It
And I
does.
think you've done it. Yeah.
We're still doing it. We will continue to do it this way.
I love it. I know this is probably, I know the answer to this question, but I'm still curious. If you could reflect back, would you change anything? Would you go, I wish I would have done this way? Is there any things like lessons learned? What you know now, would you do something differently in your businesses that you've had?
Yeah. Knowing what I know now, I would have started letting God run my companies years ago.
Hmm. Yeah.
That'd be the change. That'd be the big change.
Having that mindset.
Yep.
Yeah. If you could change, I would say, like, I give you a magic wand and you could change two things about your business today. What would
Not a whole lot. It's going really well. I might have it grow faster, right? I think any CEO you ask that question, they're going to be like,
That's right. You're
yeah,
like,
business can always grow faster. Anything that we want to change or need to change in the company is already in motion.
hmm, that feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does.
That's I'm in that season right now. We've
It,
done a
they,
lot
they
of work
won't
on our
last long.
business. Yeah.
It won't last long. So don't hang on to it too tight.
Get the panic going. But yeah.
Yeah.
If well, I was like, if you summed up your journey like in one word, what's the word you would use? Because you've had an eclectic um entrepreneur journey, founder journey. You've owned a lot of businesses.
Yeah, well, I
Exited.
didn't tell you about the ones that failed. So just double or triple the number, and there's
Yeah.
the companies. It's funny how we quickly forget about those.
Right.
Yeah, we're very blessed to be where we're at. We're in some of the initiatives. I mean, I'll give you an example. This is when I talk to you about God's guidance.
Yeah.
Here's one. So I ignored integrations for 15 years. And when I say integrations, I mean like so we offer benefits, right, to the
Hmm.
staffing industry. So there's all these payroll providers, HRIS systems, all of
Right.
that stuff out there. And so
POs, all that, like that
yeah,
type of, yeah,
and
yeah.
so all of our competitors were all going, we're integrated with ADP,
Mm,
Paychex, Aviante, we're integrated with so and so, blah blah blah. And so then for 15 years, completely ignored it. I'm like, okay, we're a technology shop. There's nothing that and I didn't want to have to charge the end user $2 or $3 more a month
right,
for being connected, right? When the connection really it was more of a marketing thing, was how I viewed it.
right. Didn't add
Not there's
value.
anything, yeah, not,
Right.
but where's the true value? And so at our Christmas lunch in 2023, Karen Porta, who's our director of client happiness, came to me and said, Carl, we've got to start these integrations. I said, what? She said, the clients want it. That's all you got to say to me.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, Karen, we're going to start integrations January 24, 2 weeks from now, right? That's how we work. I mean, it's like, bam, right away. And I started picking up the phone personally and calling these big companies, the Aviantes, the TempWorks, so on and so forth,
Right.
AEP, Paychecks, Paycor, all of them. And in these conversations, I specifically made a point to call my competitors marketplace companies,
Right.
right? Because I'm like, okay, this is what she told me to do. I'm gonna figure this out. Well, what I learned is that the entire staffing industry was sending payroll data unencrypted in CSV files or over Wi-Fi or in flat files, and all of this stuff, like, I mean, from their laptop in their home. I mean, all this
Hmm.
stuff's flying around unsecured. I mean, you're talking about millions of payroll records, right?
Wow. Who?
And so I was like, "Holy cow, this has been happening for years," and I had no clue. I mean, that's a bit embarrassing. No clue. So I said, "Okay, well, no, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it with API, which is an automated programming interface."
Right.
So you drag your payroll into the API, it converts it, encrypts it, sends it back. It goes system to system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like an FTP server or secure FTP. So
Right.
it's got to go be stored somewhere and then goes to it. Because when that happens, that's when your data is checked, right?
Right.
So we API'd with 262 payroll and HRIS systems between January of 24 and October of 25. So we're
Wow.
API 360 with 262 payroll platforms. So we completely negated all of that
All of that.
insecurity because breaches have gone up in staffing,
Yeah.
healthcare, and payroll. Breaches have gone up 900% in the last year because of AI
Well,
and these phishing attacks. And
that's
they're
right.
they're really sophisticated. I mean, it
They
comes up
are.
with some great stuff.
That's right.
So
They start learning the forms. They start hitting. Oh yeah, they're pinging those things at.
so that's been a huge initiative. That was one he
It's a
told
good.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's because you're protecting. It's all about customer experience and protecting the
And we're
customer.
protecting our clients, and then we took it
Yeah.
one step further. I said, "Okay, what if someone's not in one of our integrations, right? Let's say they're doing payroll in-house." So we developed an application where they can drag their payroll into our application, it converts it to API and sends it back to us. Then we went out and partnered with
Mm.
Ningio, which is a cybersecurity training company, right? They've got all the materials. So
Right.
we partnered with Ningio. We put Ningio in our portal. So now our clients can go in, they can grab any Ningio training they want,
Mhm.
send it out to their people, train their people on phishing, ransomware, all that stuff, no charge. It's all free to our clients. So they can go in to use all the training they want. Then we have a certificate, which if they're API connected, we issue them a certificate, and that certificate will get them up to a 20% discount on their cybersecurity policy.
Wow.
So we've created a
That's
whole division.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
called Benefit Sync API, and
Hmm.
it's all around synchronized data for securing the staffing industry.
That's amazing. But again,
Mhm.
you have that one core. How do we serve the customer?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
so, and I'm like, business isn't that hard.
No.
It's like, how
Essentially,
can I help you? What's your
exactly.
biggest problem and how can we solve it?
It was. I just saw a clip recently of an old interview that Steve Jobs did, and not really interview. He was up at a panel, and all these data programmers, developers were in the audience. It was when he came back to Apple, and there was a lot. A tech reporter had interviewed him and said, what are you doing to like the open source and actually, what have you been doing for the last like 7 years? What are you doing to like build Apple? And he answered it and he said, a lot of times, old school way of thinking is let's get all the technology people in a room or your product development people and let's think of what can we create that's really cool and then we'll go to market. He was like, what I've been focusing on is really understanding we put the customer first and it's how do we make their life easier, better? How do we serve them? How do we
Mhm.
make a better experience? And then we work backwards and go, what technology do we have on the shelf? What do we need to create or develop? What do we need to integrate in order to, and then we will then take that to market. But he was like, you got to start with the core. And that's branding 101 is like just starting with the customer in mind
Yeah.
and building backwards. So, yeah.
Well, and our clients, honestly, I mean, Benefits in a Card was built by our clients.
Yeah.
They were 3 net profit clients that said, "We need this solution. You should be able to figure it out."
Right.
And quite frankly, I just admired their confidence in us. And I'm like, okay, I'll
All
help
right,
you.
we'll do it.
And here comes another company, right? But they helped us design the systems. Literally, I mean, 3 CEOs, big companies
Hmm,
too. They're like, these are the reports I want to see. This is how we want it to look. This is how it's got to act. And
yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is, and so together we did this. It was like, and then all of a sudden this big company morphed out of it. And now we're insuring the staffing industry. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Um, so what would be your word? What word defines your journey?
Powerful.
Powerful. That's a good
It's
one.
been a powerful journey.
Yeah. And that's a new word. I don't think anyone, I think only you can own that word too,
Yeah.
based on your journey. I ask every guest and I get a different word from everybody. Even though our themes are a lot alike, we have different words. I like
Yeah.
yours. If you look ahead to the next chapter, what do you want the word to be to describe that chapter?
Obedient.
Oh, that's a good one too. We haven't heard that word either. Yes.
Obedient. I think that the true definition of a man's success is his obedience to God.
That's a good. Okay, Carl, next year, you and I in Greenville, we go out and celebrate a big win. What's the win we're
Super.
celebrating?
We will be celebrating RX, the success of our public launch next
Woo!
year. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Is there I mean, I'm sure you've been given a lot of advice over the years from other founders, entrepreneurs, coaches, and mentors, but you have a lot to offer too. What is the best advice you would give to somebody that's I would call business owner in that messy middle of they've started it, they've built it, they're trying to scale and they're hitting a wall? What advice do you give them?
Yeah. And that happens all the time. And it's so hard. I mean, I can tell you about a lot of moments, where you feel like you're laying on the manufacturing floor in your underwear going, how am I going to get out of this?
Right.
I've been there. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with other owners and people that we've helped. And my biggest advice is never quit,
Hmm.
never give up. And when I say that, I mean it so deeply, is that, no matter how hard it gets, there's always an answer and there's always a way.
That's right.
And just don't quit. Because when you quit, you'll never know what it's like to make it.
That's
You
right.
just gave up your opportunity. So by just that one thing, just that not being willing to stop, not
Mm.
being willing to quit, not being willing to give up is what's going to take you to the next level.
That's right. We always say, like, just keep moving forward, even if that's a baby step, just actions.
That's right.
Just keep going. Little
Oh,
actions.
I
Yeah.
mean, when I was in my recovery, I spent, so in that stretch, that little span I was telling you about, that those couple health issues, I spent 59 days in the hospital
Oof.
within that 1 year. And you can imagine the atrophy, so and then, getting back with a trainer and exercise and
Yeah.
all the
Ugh.
stuff that I had to do to build back. And it's exciting. It's exciting to be in that build mode. And
Yeah.
even if it's your own recovery, I was excited about it. Like I know I'm a little bit of a stooge, right? But I get stoked about stuff like this. It's like building a business. I get excited. And it's what I've learned is to take pride, take joy in the journey.
Hmm.
It's not the arrival. Once you arrive, heck, when I was 32, I had arrived at a bunch of my goals that I set, and I went into a state of depression. And then I had to rewrite my whole mindset that all of a sudden things became much more rewarding if it wasn't about me.
Right.
It had to be about somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's when it all started to happen again.
Hmm.
But this time it wasn't about me.
True.
And so, yeah, don't quit. Don't ever give up.
Hmm.
And you might have to adjust. You might have to, you might have branded the company around a product that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
That's right. I always say you got to sometimes you got to learn, but sometimes you have to unlearn things and then
Yes.
relearn things and rinse and repeat.
Yes. Yes. And the
Oh,
marketing stuff, it'll drive you crazy because you'll spend a bunch of money and this doesn't work and that doesn't work. Keep going.
that's right. And use those as data points. They're not
Exactly.
errors. They're just lessons learned of how do you recalibrate. At least that's how we teach our clients of look, we can take all the data in the world and figure out where you need to to create demand? Where do you need to create loyalty and maintain that consistency? But sometimes you don't know until you just do. And then those are data points to how do you recalibrate?
Yeah. I mean, last year, I guess it was last year, 24, 24. It was 24.
I know. I'm like 2020 and beyond. Everything's kind of like blurred for a few years.
Yeah. I guess it was mid 2024. Now we've got this FreeRx is, we got it, most of our benefits and the card clients. And we've got a pharmacy in Akron, Ohio. And they were a great group of guys. And I just wasn't hearing much from them. And I thought, what's up here? Well, for me, it's all about time to customer, right? In the FreeRx space. So, our pharmacies now, we've got one in Georgia, we've got one in New Jersey, and we've got one in Phoenix and one in Texas. But at this point, we just had this one pharmacy. And I flew up there. I'd flown up there a couple of times. I flew up there to meet with the team. We were gonna do some video work, so I had my video crew with me. This was about the third time I'd been up there. It'd probably been almost a year. And we walked in, and I've got my IT director, Gary, right, great guy. I love that man. And he's with me, and Gary's a little bit how do you say? He's stoic. So when he says something, it's just kind of matter of fact. He's an IT guy, right? And he walks in and he says, and he was there with the first time I met with the group. And I tote Gary around everywhere because he's always looking at the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, Carl, what's going on here? I'm like, dude, where are the people? And so then the guy comes out, CEO comes out, and he's like, yeah, well, we got a bunch. It was a week after 4th of July. And he says, well, we got a lot of people out on the 4th on vacation. And Gary says, like your whole shop? And no filter, right?
Right.
And I started laughing. Well, it wasn't that funny. Come to find out, they were going broke
No.
and they went bust. I wanted to help them, and it was all like I don't want it. It was like those business. You see CEOs do this stuff sometimes. It's really funny to me, just because I've seen it. But it's like, okay, we're going broke. We're going broke. We're going broke. We're gonna make it. We're gonna pull this out. Heck, we're broke. We're really broke. And then they're gone.
And then just collapse.
So just whoop overnight. Well, fortunately, my inside man had told me that there was a problem. So I had started, and what we did is we started buying into pharmacies. We started investing in them and figured, okay, we need a little bit more control of how these companies are being run. And again, it goes back to the customer experience.
Yeah.
So that was, that set me back a notch. And, because all this stuff, these pieces are moving and they're moving fast, right?
Right. But they're all connected with each other. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's good. That's good advice. Okay, before we go, and this has been fascinating. I could talk a lot. I think I can learn a lot from you. Definitely our listeners it's going to be invaluable insights from you, but where can people learn more about FreeRx? I know it's freerx.com, but how can they support you, Carl, and learn more about you, your endeavors, and point us to the right direction?
Yeah, visit freerx.com. That is our URL. It's the name of the company. It's our URL. We try to keep things simple.
Sure.
And check us out and look and see if, what you're this is what I'm not a sales guy. I'm an operations guy, and I like to help people. And so I tell people, go on there. Our search engine is prevalently placed, right? Go on there, search, make sure we got what you have what you need before you sign up. It's not it's not insurance, but it's like an insurance policy. I mean,
Yeah.
But it's only $50, $49.95 a month, or I mean,
Right. It's I love the model. We changed our health benefits at the company and for ourselves personally. We're concierge visit. We get better service. We did the math of what you would spend if we took things out of paychecks, and this is like a third of what we would have been spending, and we get just phenomenal service and everything's inclusive. So it's exciting to hear you're taking that similar model in the pharmaceutical and prescriptions.
Yes.
It's
Well,
pretty cool.
it was a massive gap, and somebody needed to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, if we don't make a dime and we change the model and get
Then
pricing right and get things back down to where they need to be, I'm happy.
right. And
I just wanna
provide
help
access
people.
to those deserts, right? Because that's a real
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
It is a real thing.
You'll be saving lives, I think, more than you
That's the
recognize.
plan.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Carl, thank you for hanging out with us today. I
Thank you. It's
appreciate
been a
it.
pleasure talking with you.
All right. Next time you're in Greenville, we'll go coffee
Let's do that.
or a ginger juice. That's what I'm going to do after when
Where do you go for your juice? You go to Carl's?
I go to Fresh Market. They have an organic, already kind of pre-juice, but it's ginger and turmeric. Um, it's and lemon. It's a
You need
little.
to go check out my buddy Carl's got a place called Southern Press.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, right off of Main Street.
Olivia and I
It's
worked together
fabulous.
for many years. If you know
Yeah.
Olivia, that's her partner to Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
we
great
work.
guy. I think the
He
world of Carl.
he is fantastic, and I love that too. I love the juice. But that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the journey doesn't stop here. If you are interested in learning more about what we do, and you enjoy listening to the podcast, just be sure to leave that 5-star review on Spotify. Share this podcast with your friends. You can also dig deeper into founder resources and tools or more episodes over at orangewhip.com. That's Orange UIP. Until next time, stay curious, stay scrappy, and remember, we are all a WIP, that work in progress. And see you again next week.